there are a million ways to make money on this. There really is. Right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
You've got an 18-1-6 hockey team. You've got a 10-2 football team. So the best record in hockey, the best record in football, and top 5 in the NBA with Jokic and the gang, and the Nuggets at 14-6. And I'm saying to myself, what other town comes close to that?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Chris Beard said, I can just play different players. And kudos to Chris Beard. NIL does not matter. Recruiting rankings don't matter. Who your AAU coaches doesn't matter. At the end of the day as a coach, your loyalty is to your school. Your loyalty is to all the kids in the program.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a Hump Day Wednesday right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's the early line. It's how we do it each and every weekday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We get down to the business to make sure you get all the information you need to be a more informed handicapper, bettor, or even friend when you're around the water cooler. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri, and we're ready to go. The action is hot today. Old quarterbacks being signed. How do we figure on the college football playoff with everything settling down? More information tonight coming through in the NBA where the Cup continues to roll. And, Joe, a 2-0 night last night for our buy bets. How about that?
Very profitable night last night, Donnie, and we look to roll that in here today. And a lot to wrap our heads around here, including, the Dodgers are still writing checks, Donnie.
They are still writing checks. Schwarber's getting the check from Philadelphia. 44-year-old quarterback's back in the mix. But today on your Hump Day Wednesday, as you look forward to that weekend, it's time to get caffeinated with the hottest topic of the day. Joe, what do we got?
Well, let's go, Donnie, because I want to talk about maybe the greatest story that we never knew we needed this year.
Oh.
The Indianapolis Colts. Because yesterday, Donnie, you're right, they didn't just sign a quarterback. They signed a folk hero. They signed hope for every washed-up, sore-kneed weekend warrior in America. The Colts have officially declared war on Father Time. And after Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, the Colts, well, they needed a miracle. And what did they do? Well, they picked up the phone, called down to Alabama, interrupted a high school football practice, heck, even probably pulled a guy away from babysitting his grandkids and say, hey, you want to play in the NFL again? And Phillip Rivers says, yeah, he's 44 years old. He hasn't taken a snap in the NFL in 4 years. He has literally been retired coaching high school ball and, prepping for the Hall of Fame. And now, now he's on the practice squad and might be starting one of these Sundays real soon for the Colts. Now, I know the betting markets think this is probably a complete joke. And I know the critics are comparing this to the Jeff Saturday disaster of the Colts, but this is different. This is Phillip Rivers. This is the guy who played on a torn ACL. This is the guy who talks trash without ever cursing. Now, he admitted on the Dan Patrick Show that, I might need a wheelchair the next morning, but I can still play. And that is the kind of spirit that we need here, Donnie. So roll up your sleeves, Grandpa, because this is for every guy over 35 who's ever pulled a hamstring running to first base in the company softball game. And this is for every dad who thought, well, he still had it at the Thanksgiving touch football game and couldn't walk for 3 days afterwards, Donnie. Phillip Rivers is your new hero. He is looking father time right in the face and saying, not today, people. But will it work? Who knows? Might be a train wreck. Well, it might be a Super Bowl run. But one thing that we know for sure, it is going to be must-watch TV. So go get him, Phillip Rivers, Grandpa, because all of us here are rooting for you.
We are rooting for him. And by the way, the funny part about this is when he hung it up 4 years ago, his legs were shot and so was his arm. So him coming back is absolute must-see TV. And it always the old adage like, hey, man, do you think you could still hit a 75-mile-an-hour curveball or a 95-mile-an-hour fastball? And you're like, you know what? Maybe one time I can get in there. I got one good rep left in me. And Rivers is like, well, I'm going to have 75 good reps left each and every game here to see if we go forward. It's an unbelievable story to watch this play out, and we want to see it happen also. Begs to believe, like, is the quarterback state in the NFL where it's just so bad you got to reach back to get a guy that's sitting on the couch for 4 years just so you look competent on offense? Let's let it happen, people. And here's the early line, the hottest topics across the sports landscape, which does deal with Phillip Rivers signing a contract. Now, it says to the practice squad, but he can be elevated at any time. Could there be a chance that he's elevated because he practices on Wednesday and Thursday and looks good enough to play this weekend on the road at Seattle? I'm here to watch it, and we hope it absolutely happens.
Well, you know, define good enough to play. I think he looks good enough to play for the versus the quarterbacks on this roster right now, Donnie. I think that's the key here, because why invite this circus if you didn't think he could play? And that's the interesting part about this, is that you wouldn't do this knowing that it becomes a complete sideshow unless, well, you know what? He certainly, if we can put him in a spot here to have some success, he can still get the ball out in time. That's really all that matters, right? Just get the ball out of your hands, make the right read, and let the rest take care of itself.
And by the way, the best part about this, too, is the reason why he reached out to Phillip Rivers as opposed to somebody else. He knows the playbook. It's the exact playbook that he used in the NFL. So he comes in. The jargon is right. It's just a matter of, hey, can I still throw it? And can I still make the right reads at that time here? We'll find out. And you know, all eyes are going to be on the Colts this week and their practice reports to see who's going to be starting this weekend. We'll probably find out soon enough. The Chicago White Sox, bad, terrible, stinky. A couple of the words that you might be looking at that organization, but hope is on the horizon. The number one overall pick did go to the White Sox.
Yeah, so we should see them in what, 2032?
36?
So, yes.
Yeah, I'll go 36.
Yeah, congratulations, White Sox. You got the number one draft that you'll never utilize and most likely trade in a couple of years. So, you know, baseball's funny like that, Donnie. It's not like the NBA or NFL drafts where you get the number one and immediately, you know, they become hope for the future. No. You'll probably never see this kid in a White Sox uniform, whoever it is.
Exactly. A pitcher that immediately gets Tommy John. Whatever happened to that kid for a 30 for 30? We'll find out soon. The New York Knicks pick up a W on the road in the 6 yesterday. -4.5 was that number. Your boy DRS told you to take the Knicks. An easy walk-away winner as the Knicks advance in the NBA Cup, Joe.
Well, there are a few things that are guaranteed in life, I guess. There, Donnie, and the Knicks beating the Toronto Raptors is definitely up there. 10 in a row now that they have dominated this team, and now they get to head to Vegas to take on the Orlando Magic in NBA Cup drama. So it should be interesting to see how this all works out.
Kyle Schwarber back to the Philadelphia Phillies, a 5-year, $150 million deal. We saw other outlets there saying like the Orioles had the same offer on the table, but Schwarber elected to come back to the Phillies, which is great because we'll see 50 home runs in the regular season, and then the Phillies will get one hit, score maybe a run or two in the wild card round, and be bounced from the playoffs because that's just the way they do it.
Well, it makes sense, right? I mean, it makes sense to bring him back because the identity of this team kind of starts with him at the top of that lineup. They do need to make they need to address a few other spots, but I guess getting Schwarber out of the way, locking him up, that's one less thing we got to worry about as Philly fans.
And by the way, ownership understands this. You bring Schwarber back, you're selling out that stadium on 81 nights there in Philadelphia, and that's what they look forward to. And still great. I mean, unbelievable season. He'll be fine. The Phillies almost had no choice but to bring Kyle Schwarber back. How about Edwin Diaz? This was an interesting one because the Mets, we were led to believe with Uncle Steve, payroll doesn't matter. If we want a player, we will sign him. Well, the Mets wanted Edwin Diaz. Where is he now? He's in L.A., which then you hear the cat calls out there. The Dodgers are ruining the sport, and maybe so, and we will get a lockout. But don't blame the Dodgers. They're playing under the rules that everybody else has. And it's one thing if Edwin Diaz was a Kansas City Royal. Oh, come on, Dodgers. That's not fair. This is the Mets. Unlimited payroll. They chose not to sign him. Diaz goes out to the L.A. marketplace.
And what is 3 years, $69 million to the Dodgers? They got that in the couch cushions. Like, stop it. If you ask the Dodgers, they're like, phew, that was cheap. You got to be kidding me. I mean, ultimately, we know they're just going to go into the postseason with 13 starters anyway. I mean, who needs a closer, Donnie? You're the Dodgers. You just need starting pitching.
By the way, I thought the Dodgers did have a breakthrough last year. It's like, you know what? You're right. Let's just go with 11 starting pitchers, no bullpen, and we'll just intermix them in every game, and it worked in a World Series championship, and maybe he can do it this year as well. Lionel Messi, MVP of the MLS. No surprise there, right?
Oh, shocker. They might as well name the trophy after him now. I mean, that's it, Donnie. Just milk this Messi name for all it's worth, MLS. Milk it.
Utah University, $500 million richer, but did they sell out their sports athletic programs, Joe?
They sold out the athletic programs long ago, Donnie. Has nothing to do with what Utah just did selling it. They sold out a long time ago.
It's like you and your Dynasty Fantasy League trading 5 first-round picks to get the best players, then dipping out of the league and say, hey, what did I do? See you later when I see you. We'll be right back.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. The Lions will make the playoffs this season. Buy or sell?
I believe that's what the computer tells us, right? They are almost exactly 50-50 to make the playoffs now after that win. Now, it's sort of the game I'm going to play here when we talk about the Cowboys making the playoffs. If you're going to put Detroit in, Craig, who are you taking out? All right? I mean, they're not, even with the win last night, they're not in the playoff spot right now. They're still the 8th seed here. You take out San Fran? I mean, their schedule's cake. They should get in. Green Bay beat you twice. I mean, so you would probably need, for them to make the playoffs, Seattle's the other team, by the way, I think Seattle gets in. You would need Green Bay or Chicago, really, what they're ready for is one to beat the other. They do play each other twice, to beat them twice, right? They can't have a split here. They need either Chicago to beat Green Bay twice or Green Bay to beat Chicago twice, sort of eliminate the other team. So I am probably selling this. I do think there's a chance here. You look at the Lions' schedule, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Chicago, the last 2 are on the road.
Yeah, I think that I'm on board here with you. In the AFC, Detroit would be in. But in the NFC, you have to make a prediction to knock a team out. Now, like as an example, in the NFC East, could you see a scenario, George, where Philadelphia just completely falls apart like they did 2 years ago? Sure, but then they still would win the division. Like you really can't find a path for the Lions unless, for me, I guess the team that I would question the most to make it and knock them out would be the Bears. Like that would be it. It would be just the Bears playing the softer schedule. I know they beat Philadelphia last week, but I just can't do it right now. So unfortunately, this could be a 11-win season, 10-win season for Detroit without them getting in. I will sell. They will not make it. I'm with you here.
Fantasy Sports Today, Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Spreadlines on a Wednesday, a hump day Wednesday here on the SportsGrid Network. Right in the middle of that week where tomorrow we get back to business with the NFC South. You're going to see the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then heading into the weekend, a monstrous card in the NFL, which, Joe, which I love, there are no more bye weeks, a full slate. So you got Thursday, crazy action on Sunday night, and then into Monday Night Football. But these spread lines are designed to get you ready for some of the important games that you might not be looking at just yet, Joe. And this game's going to take place, the first one, December the 20th. That's the college football playoff live from Oregon, 7:30 p.m. That's James Madison going out west to take on Oregon. The line opened up around 20.5 points, Joe. Most outlets are north of that now at 21.5, and a total of 50.5. JMU in the college football playoff. Some say they shouldn't be there. Well, they're here taking on Oregon. What's that spread line, Joe?
Well, Donnie, I mean, pay attention to this game because this is likely the game that will alter the qualification rules for the college football playoff moving forward, especially when JMU likely gets run out of the building here. And that is likely what is going to happen here. And look at the markets here, Donnie. We saw this open 20.5. Which is, we were all scratching our head going, how are the 12 best? How do we have any games over a touchdown, lined over a touchdown, and expect us to believe that these are the 12 best teams in the country? Nope, it's not. And while congratulations, not taking anything away from JMU, the market tends to agree with what I'm saying here, Donnie, because we're now up to what, 21.5, 22.5. Yeah. This thing is likely going up, I believe, Donnie, to 23, 23.5, maybe even 24 before it's all said and done. The total, though, is kind of stuck at 50.5, but we all know what's going to happen there. We are going to see that over money start trickling in as we get a little bit closer to this game. But for right now, congrats, JMU, but moving forward, the group of five, that we won't be seeing teams or matchups like this, I think, any longer.
I got to tell you, too, because, we'll watch this game and we'll enjoy it to some extent because most people are going to gamble on it anyway. But how about Texas and Arch Manning going up to alts in there? Or how about, the angry Notre Dame squad here that they are now? They should be in the playoff and playing up there. It's amazing, but it's only college football, and it's designed to make you upset. Just the way they get down to business, Joe. Now, let's look at the next game here. And I call this maybe a personal game for Joe Ranieri because the Kennesaw State Fighting Joe Ranieris are taking on Western Michigan, the MAC champions, in a bowl. Line opened up at 4.5, Joe. Still sits at 4.5. Total opened up 49.5. We're still sitting at 49.5. Kennesaw State, Western Michigan on the 19th at 11 a.m.
I love this here, Donnie, because these were two teams that we cashed a lot of tickets on this year with Kennesaw State, Conference USA champion, taking down Jacksonville State. We were on that one. And, of course, Western Michigan, the MAC Darlings, one of the best teams all year nobody paid attention to. And the reason I really like games like this, Donnie, is because while all of the other bowl games, before you start putting any money down betting them, you have to understand what's going on with the portal and the opt-out situation. It makes it very difficult when you're talking about betting Texas or Vanderbilt and so on and so forth on who's in, who's out, who's not playing. When you got teams like Kennesaw State and Western Michigan, this is without a doubt their national championship. There is nobody going to be opting out on either side here. They're going to want to play this game, and they are going to want to go toe-to-toe. So this is one of the more fun ones, Donnie, because we don't have to be like, well, who's this playing quarterback now? Where is the guy? They're all there, Donnie, which makes this very interesting, especially given the fact that we're seeing the line hovering around 3.5. Western Michigan opened up as a 4-point favorite. We're starting to see 3.5s pop up. I do think this goes off as a field goal, Donnie, when it's all said and done. It is in Myrtle Beach at Brooks Stadium in South Carolina, so neutral site, but it is a field goal game. And let's face it, it's going to be very hard for me to pick that game, Donnie, because I like both of these teams a lot, but should be a lot of fun to watch it go down.
The Fighting Joe Ranieri is going to take place here. Joe, by the way, I live in New Jersey, and if I walk out back this morning, it's freezing. It's in the high 20s. Man, you don't want to be out here too long. The reason I'm bringing this up here is Cleveland and Shedeur Sanders will be on the road to take on the Chicago Bears in the Windy City. Not going to be a lot of wind there, but Joe, the kickoff temperature, 7 degrees in Chicago for this game and a touchdown favorite of 7.5 for Chicago and a total of 39.5. Bone-chilling temperatures. Shedeur's on the road. What's that spread line here?
Well, and wind, Donnie, because they're talking about the wind chill of maybe 0 - 1 degree. So we are going to get some wind here as well. But to me, this becomes a situation where, listen, we all know Shedeur Sanders doesn't have exactly the strongest arm. Great great game last week, but, going at home against that Tennessee defense is one thing. Going on the road to Soldier Field here in these conditions is another animal. The team that can run the ball, Donnie, is going to win this game and is going to win it, I think, rather easily. And I do believe that the Bears will have no problem bouncing back here against this Browns team, who will likely go back to their 7 to 10 points a game from this point moving forward.
And by the way, who the heck wants to tackle Kyle Monangai in 0-degree temperatures? That guy's a bulldozer out there. We'll find out more this weekend. But cold temperatures in Chicago. Not going to be cold in Tinseltown tonight. The Spurs and the Lakers. The Lakers now up to a 6-point favorite at some outlets here. And the Spurs total in this game, 237.5. Spurs-Lakers, Joe. What are we looking at tonight from a spread perspective?
Couple of pairs of Western Conference behemoths there, Donnie, trying to get it done. But listen, I mean, no Wembanyama hasn't seemed to bother San Antonio much. Overnight line, Donnie, was 4.5 in this game, and we're seeing nothing but Laker money. Here comes the Lakers, right? Total 237, 238. Now, keep in mind, we saw it last night. These NBA Cup games, a lot more playoff-like, less in the totals, not more. That's not the way this game is going.
Suns Thunder tonight. 2-touchdown favorite for OKC on their home court, trying to win this, trying to win a championship and do more. What's that spread line tonight for the Suns and the Thunder, Joe?
15.5 overnight, Donnie. Finally, people are like, wait a minute, maybe this is a bit much. 14.5 right now. They're 23-1 OKC. Are they going to win this game? Yes, they're going to win it. Are they going to win it by more than 2 touchdowns? Don't think so here. I think all the value is on Phoenix here tonight.
Oh, boy. How about some value on those Colts if Phillip Rivers is starting this weekend? Let's dive into some NFL news and notes next right here on the Early Line. Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too. Yeah. And Eddie O, potentially, it said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter.
Yes.
And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge. You're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida was thought to get Lane Kiffin, but they go and turn to Tulane head coach John Summerall. This is a solid hire, coach.
He's a tough-minded coach. I thought he would be a perfect fit at Auburn, just knowing he's from Alabama. But I think Florida got an outstanding coach. He will be a tough nut that knows how to win football games.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
They did it. They did it, people. It's Indianapolis Colts. We thought coming into the season, that's a wait and see, and maybe Anthony Richardson is going to be your quarterback. And we talked about it so much. Like, hey, the betting markets are saying who's going to be the starter opening day. And for a while in the summer, it was Anthony Richardson, only to find Daniel Jones beat him out, and rightfully so. Daniel Jones was very good over the first, 7 or 8 games. Injuries step in. Story goes back to Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. Now he's out with the broken leg / Achilles injury and not coming back. Riley Leonard stepped into the fold last week, and he looked pretty good against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Joe, so much where I wanted to go back and watch every snap he took against the Jaguars to try to see if there's any value this week, only to find out he has a knee injury and is possibly not going to play, which means the Colts would be without a quarterback because I guess they banished Anthony Richardson to the back of the building. Signed 44-year-old Phillip Rivers after a Monday night workout. The question's going to be, how quickly can he assimilate and start on this football team? And can it be this weekend? He's 44. He hasn't played in it feels like a decade in the NFL. And he's coming back. Good on you, Phil.
Donnie, I'm telling you, it is the story none of us knew we needed at this season here in the NFL, and I am all for it. You want to take on Father Time? I am all for it. Let's go, Phillip Rivers. Let's see what you got. But I think it does speak to just how, think about where this Colts team started this year and think about where they are right now, right? What an unbelievable situation here, because a lot of us doubted that Daniel Jones was going to be any sort of placeholder until you could figure out what was going on with Richardson. But I think we all agreed Richardson, that probably wasn't going to be the answer here. And then we were unbelievably pleasantly surprised with Daniel Jones in the start they had. But then he got hurt. Richardson, we all knew, was probably not going to be playing football this year. And now they're left with Riley Leonard, who's hurt. And now you got to go to a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. It has gone from it's gone from great to absolutely what choice do we have with the Indianapolis Colts. That is not great as you head into week 15 in a playoff race, Donnie, if you are the Colts. It's unbelievable the up and down roller coaster season this team has had.
And by the way, we have to change the timelines here because Schefter pointed out, and everybody's asking the same question. Like, what happens? He's going to probably be in the Hall of Fame. Does he get to push back? The minute he signs on the Colts active roster, his name comes off that list and the clock restarts for another 5 years. Now, we have to make some exceptions on these rules. You're telling me if Phillip Rivers comes back and plays one game, he's like, you know what? Just don't have it, or one game, my arm hurts, or, who knows? He scrambles out of the pocket and there goes his hamstring and he has to retire again. We need special dispensation. Now, granted, if he plays at 44 years old and plays well down the stretch and the coach's like, hey, how about one more year? Yeah, your name's going to come off that list. But I do find it interesting where he's just about to be on the ballot and it would reset. But I got to tell you this. I don't think Phillip Rivers cares about that at all. You're telling me, dude, if I get back and have one more pass in the NFL, take my name off the list, man. I'm living the dream.
He's getting into the NFL. So here's what they should do. If he somehow manages to get this team, he plays, Donnie, and he somehow manages to get this team to finish and make it to the postseason, win or lose, as soon as it's over, they ought to just drive him right to Canton and drive him right into the Hall of Fame and put him in there, because this will be one of the most unbelievable stories. He doesn't even have to win a playoff game, Donnie. He's just got to be able to get them there. If he can do that, and this works great, it's one of two things, Donnie. This is either going to be the greatest story ever, or it's going to be the biggest train wreck that we have seen in a very, very long time.
It is. And also, you take a look, too. J.J. Watt put out a post yesterday. Phillip Rivers is running the same offense as the Colts for his son's Gunners high school team this season. And he even said him and Shane Steichen actually spoke weekly about it, discussing plays and film. That's why we opened up the show talking about this isn't a guy coming in like, hey, well, this is new terminology and this is going to be crazy. He steps in on a Wednesday and is like, I got mastery of the playbook already. That's huge, because you can bring in anybody off the street, but you have to assimilate and learn exactly what that playbook is. Hundreds of plays deep. He's already got it.
Frank Reich, his last coach, right? He was the coach of the Colts in his last season. And Frank Reich apparently texted him and was like, listen, if this is true, I'm all for it. You got this. So Frank Reich thinks he's got enough left in the tank to go out and do it. But the choice is Phillip Rivers right now or Brett Rippon. That's it. And Riley Leonard doesn't look like he's going to be able to play Sunday against Seattle. So Brett Rippon or Phillip Rivers. My goodness.
I'm telling you, man, you got to be kidding me. He starts this weekend up on the 12s, and I don't care what happens. Like, sign me up for 30 carries out of Jonathan Taylor, but just give me that play action pass, flip it over the side, and have him yelling at a defender there, telling him how he's back and how he's going to be king of everything here. That'll be a lot of fun to watch it play out. But it's Phillip Rivers. He's 44. He's back in the NFL. Can he start this weekend? We'll talk about it for the rest of the week. We'll be right back here on the early line. Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too.
Yeah.
And Eddie O, potentially, it said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter.
Yes.
And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge. You're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
Sports Grid's College Football Today.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida was thought to get Lane Kiffin, but they go and turn to Tulane head coach John Summerall. This is a solid hire, coach.
He's a tough-minded coach. I thought he would be a perfect fit at Auburn, just knowing he's from Alabama. But I think Florida got an outstanding coach. He will be a tough nut that knows how to win football games.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
News and notes around the NFL here. Never too early. Yes, it's a hump day. No, there's no live action on the NFL field. It starts up again tomorrow for an exciting Week 15, and we don't have too much left to go until that first week of January, and off to the playoffs we are. But Mike Tomlin feeling good about a victory over the Baltimore Ravens. He had some time to speak on, hey, what the heck is going on with Phillip Rivers?
Mike, you have a 42-year-old quarterback. Can a 44-year-old who hasn't played in 5 years come back and play? Phillip Rivers?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Culture's supposed to work him out.
That's none of my business, man. I'm trying to get ready for the Dolphins.
By the way, you know what I always find I find intriguing about it too, Joe, because like we're so much in the sports landscape and in media here. All we do is watch feeds of social media all day long. The minute information comes down, we see it. NFL football coaches, the thing I get a kick out of is they're so straight line in their approach. Like, they're not on social media. They don't care what's going on around the league. They're in a dark film room trying to prepare their team and come out of a cubbyhole to grab like some lunch and some dinner and head right back in there, head home at 1 a.m. in the morning, get right back to the office at 5 a.m. Because you ask that question, it's like, hey, he's going to get a funny response about what he thinks of Phillip Rivers. His response was, I don't even know what's going on here. That's kind of interesting. I love that singular approach from football coaches where they don't have any idea what's going on outside of their own building, it seems.
And I love the ridiculous question, though. Like, what do you think Mike Tomlin cares? What is he playing the Colts this week? No. Then, I mean, if you've been in that room at all for the last 18 years, with it, like, Tomlin's like, I listen, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to the Dolphins. Like, I don't even know what, not my problem. I thought his reaction was perfect. Like, are you serious? Like, I care what the Colts are doing unless we're playing them. Very
Exactly.
funny.
It is funny as this, but he says, "Hey, the correlation with your old quarterback and mine." There's no correlation. Like Aaron Rodgers has
No.
been playing all along. Some guy coming off the
Yes.
couch midweek and not even playing against. Like, hey, you know what? We're going to give you a breather game, the easiest game. We're going to play the Atlanta Falcons. Like, no, you're going into Seattle in one of the toughest environments against an unbelievable defense and the best team possibly, at least record-wise, in the NFC. A fun one to watch this weekend. But Mike Tomlin's like, dude, I don't need those problems here. I'm not going to answer any questions. Back to the next one here that we have. Other news around. Adam Schefter sent out a tweet yesterday. Police have arrested a 20-year-old Bronx man and charged him with attempted murder, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon in connection with the shooting of Jets player Chris Boyd. An arrest has been made here, and I believe Boyd is getting better as well, which is good news.
Yeah, that was never going to go unsolved because the NFL was never going to allow a player, even though he wasn't a starter, Don, he wasn't like a well-known. The guy was marketed as a NFL Jet player shot, and that was never going to go unsolved. They were going to find who did that, and they did. So hopefully justice will prevail here.
Ian Rappaport yesterday, he had a tweet out there about the Steelers and DK Metcalf having to stay overnight in a Baltimore hotel after going to a local hospital following the game. A team spokesman confirmed Metcalf was experiencing stomach pains on a flight, and out of abundance of caution, they kept him there, and he's flying back to Pittsburgh today, which obviously was a couple days ago. But having said that, hey, man, we all been there, right? And by the way, I think the Steelers gave him Pepto during the game, which had his best game of the season here, but they didn't want to put him on the plane there. A key ingredient here, Joe, maybe a little more fiber in the diet. Like, what happened here? What happened on the stomach issues?
Good. Listen, it's that time of year, right? Could have been a little bug, little something, and they were like, good to go. You'll know all you need to know about it, though, on whether or not he's on that injury report and questionable coming this Sunday against the Dolphins. I doubt he will be. I think he'll be good to go.
By the way, you know, football players, like, we're human beings. Like, sometimes you have to go to the bathroom and say, hey, Lamar Jackson's running back into the locker room. Like, oh, I hope he's okay. No, he probably had to go to the bathroom like so many people. I can't imagine trying to play at the highest level, Joe, and like, hey, man, stomach's bubbling out here, guys. I ain't feeling too good. And then put on that performance.
Unbelievable. Absolutely. It was. And listen, they're going to need more of that from him. Let's be honest, right? Whatever this is, you got to keep giving them the charcoal, whatever it is, keep giving it to them because they're going to need more of that moving forward.
Absolutely. By the way, a couple of tight ends banged up this week is also. They're going to play Miami on Monday Night Football, Joe. Another frigid, cold temperature, which you know the Miami Dolphins don't like. And there's one guy quarterback on the other side, Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, man, what's it, 2 degrees? Used to this, been playing in this all my life. So some good stuff there. And DK Metcalf, by the way, explaining from the Steelers themselves, they don't expect him to miss any time. Whether he practices early in the week, Joe, that'll be a different result. But yeah, stomach issues, let it rest out there. Little Metamucil, you're back on the field. Everything's good.
I love it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this game on Monday because great win for Pittsburgh. They are going to need him. That defense of the Dolphins, you can say a lot about that team, whether they're for real or not. But they're believing they're for real, Donnie, and they are going to have to beat them over the top because they're pretty good against the run.
Yeah, they've been playing much better, too, the Miami Dolphins. I think it's either 4 straight games or 5 of 6, one of those two there, maybe included in both. But the Dolphins certainly come into town with some vengeance, and Devon Achane, how he's been playing, hey, maybe could be some kryptonite there for that Pittsburgh defense. I'll tell you what is kryptonite. If your players are playing football and they're getting drunk before most games, and then we go back to the tapes and be like, the heck was this guy doing? Quentin Jammer, how about this story? Admits he played drunk during 8 games in 2011. I know if I'm playing drunk, usually it's like, hey, I'm going to shoot hoops at the local park with my buddies and we'll laugh, but we're not going to do a ton of cardio. How the heck do you play football games drunk? Wouldn't you be just tossing up all over the place? Or maybe he was.
Stop, dude. Listen, Lawrence Taylor would roll out of a hotel room, Donnie, at an hour before kickoff, still drunk, and show up at the stadium there and still get 3.5 sacks in a game and disrupt. So you ain't got nothing there, Jammer. Nice story, though. But, yeah, I'd like to see some of that tape with him when he was a little inebriated. I'd like to see some of the plays that he might not have made there while in that condition.
Yeah, because we've got like Marshawn Lynch has told the fact, like, hey, man, I'll take a shot of Henny before the game to get me going,
Right.
which sort of makes sense how wild he is. Like, I just need to calm down. This helps me get through the game itself. But the fact that you're back there taking multiple shots or a case of Bud Light before the game and then go out and play an NFL game, which you know is you can't say it's easier for a lineman, or let's just say you're a special teamer. But if you're a cornerback, Joe, let's just say that's 80 plays of chasing wide receivers 50 yards downfield. That's tough to do if you're inebriated.
Yeah, that's very tough to do here, Donnie. Not to mention, it's like, I don't want to play this game. Like, what is doing here? I'll be good to go. But some guys, listen, some guys are very functional with that. And he apparently was, because he kept getting a paycheck, didn't he? And nobody knew it?
Nobody knew it. Hit that for what? 2011, almost close to 15 years at this point, saying, you know what? Give me a couple shots here before the game. We'll get down to business. By the way, Joe, it is a big week 15 in the NFL. We start tomorrow night, which we're not going to have a preview of that game. Decent weather conditions. That's what I want to talk about in Tampa Bay. The rest of the league, Joe, it's a full slate on Sunday. A lot of dome games, which is fun, but a lot of games now, Joe, that we are seeing temperatures of below 20 degrees, 15 degrees, 10 degrees. How does that change your optimism? Because sometimes we just talk about like PSAs where September's so easy, Joe. You're showing up at 85 degrees everywhere, good weather, and away you go with it. Now guys are beat up, banged up, and it hurts to tackle, and now you're playing in 0-degree wind temperatures there like we're seeing in Chicago. Does that change your mindset here on some of these road teams coming to town and who actually has the advantages?
Well, it's always going to be advantage the northeastern teams, right? Teams that play outdoors in this type of weather versus those that like Miami that plays south. It's always going to be a disadvantage for them, but understand it's always baked into the line. So don't think that you're getting some sort of great price here on a game because the wind is blowing. The wind blowing is really the only thing that's going to affect the line significantly. Cold is cold. Not to mention, Donnie, look at what they got going on. A lot of these stadiums now have heated fields. So when they're hitting the ground, it's not nearly like, the ground is front. No, it's not like that anymore. They got all the stuff on the sidelines here. Sure, it's cold, it's going to hurt, but it's advantage those who are used to it, Donnie, versus those that might be out west or down south.
I got to tell you, look at like New England's going to be cold, Cincinnati cold, Kansas City cold. Green Bay's playing Denver. 60 degrees at kickoff. That doesn't make any sense to me at this point. Let's make some sense of that Thursday night game tomorrow. We'll be right back. Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too. Yeah. And Eddie O, potentially, it said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter.
Yes.
And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge. You're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like I sit back, we've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida was thought to get Lane Kiffin, but they go and turn to Tulane head coach John Summerall. This is a solid hire, coach.
He's a tough-minded coach. I thought he would be a perfect fit at Auburn, just knowing he's from Alabama. But I think Florida got an outstanding coach. He will be a tough nut that knows how to win football games.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Right back out on a Hump Day Wednesday, early line SportsGrid Network, DRS, and Joe Ranieri. The NFL work week does get back into business tomorrow on a Thursday, Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Atlanta free-falling out of the playoff picture. They've already been eliminated, which is interesting now. Do you continue to feed, Bijan in the backfield and Algier, and what are you getting out of Kirk Cousins, and are you going to rush to bring back Drake London at this point? We'll find out. And maybe Raheem Morris is selfish and goes, hey guys, I need you all out there, because if maybe 1 or 2 more wins saves my job this year, I could use that. Nonsense. Once you're out of the playoffs, tank, get a better draft pick, and move on with your life. Now, Kirk Cousins will get the start against Baker Mayfield. Last week, an embarrassing effort at home for Tampa Bay, Joe, coming up on the lame end of a bad football team against New Orleans in the rain. Good weather conditions are expected, but also Wirfs did not play in that game. Star left tackle, expected to possibly be back. Mike Evans, who's been down for multiple weeks with the collarbone injury, expected to possibly be back. Jalen McMillan, who got hurt in the preseason, Joe, with a neck injury, possibly playing on Thursday night. The reinforcements are coming back on a line that sits at 4.5 and a total of 44.5 tomorrow, Joe, between Atlanta and Tampa.
Yeah, it's interesting because the total, I think, is fascinating here, Donnie, because you got 2 teams with 2 very defensive-minded head coaches, right? I mean, Raheem Morris, all about the defense, just allowed a whole lot of points last week. So you got to think there is going to be some urgency on the defensive side there, where they're going to look to limit this Bucs team that you mentioned is finally looks like they're going to get a little bit healthier here. But Todd Bowles and Tampa has not been great, certainly in the market when it comes to the spread, Donnie, and covering games against division opponents. The Bucs are 1-8 against the number when they are actually hosting division opponents. So they haven't been great in this spot. They win the games, but they're not covering. I think this is an interesting number because it feels like it's kind of no man's land. So is it a field goal game? Is it more than a field goal game? What are we going to get here? 2 teams that absolutely need a win. And it's going to be, I think, a dogfight and an under all day long when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I don't think Atlanta needs a win. I think Atlanta needs a loss, Joe, in this game coming up on Thursday night. Just get that better pick. But as I started to say, like people are out for themselves. You think Raheem Morris is going to ownership and like, you know what, let's shut it down the rest of the year. They go, good, I agree, and you're going to be fired anyway, as opposed to let's be competitive. It is a division game. They'll be up for it. They're professionals. But I look at it like this, too. Remember what hurt last week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? The ground game, not particularly just from a running back itself, but a running quarterback. Chuck was able to make plays with his feet and score a couple touchdowns. Kirk Cousins isn't doing that. And as you pointed out, defensive-minded head coach like Todd Bowles, do you think they're going to give Kirk Cousins time to hang out in the pocket? He doesn't run. It is going to be blitzkrieg in the pocket to see if it does work. But I'm interested to see what we get out of Tampa Bay's offense. You throw a couple wide receivers into that motion where they're as healthy as they've been all season, that could be some fun to watch for Baker Mayfield on his passing statistics and also maybe touchdown props. As you take a look at, Mayfield currently sits at a lot of outlets, Joe, 219.5 in totals for a touchdown. Over 1.5 touchdown passes, which means he has to throw 2. It's a minus 136 price. I'll tell you right now, I don't want anything to do with Kirk Cousins and those stats. If I'm playing Atlanta's side of it, Joe, just as a correlation, like if Bijan doesn't have a really good night, they're not going to win and or cover that game. I don't care about Kirk Cousins. I can't stand the wideouts. Even Pitts has been on the injury report this week on a short work week. It's looking for me like it's Tampa Bay angles to me, Joe, or nothing in this game.
Well, keep in mind, they had some interesting games last year with Kirk Cousins at quarterback, these 2 teams. And Kirk Cousins, this might be the only team, and against Todd Bowles and that defense, that he's actually dominated here in a long time. 509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an overtime win last October. And then he followed that up a couple of weeks later with 4 touchdowns and 276 yards. So for whatever reason, Kirk Cousins does pretty well against Todd Bowles' defenses. But even Bijan Robinson, it's not like he's had a couple of bad games, Donnie. I mean, the guy was dominating against the Jets. He was great again last week. And they still can't win. So they need to figure something else out in order to get this win. It's kind of hard to trust either team. I'd much rather trust the offenses not to be as good as the defenses here.
Yeah, Bijan listed at 74.5 rushing yards in this game. Bucky Irving, 62.5. The one I always find fascinating is you never think of Baker Mayfield as like a runner. But if you watch like Red Zone on Sundays, 3rd and 7, they go to the Buccaneers. Half the time it's Mayfield juking like 6 guys to pick up 8 yards. He's a pretty good runner once he gets in the scramble mode. He's 16.5. But if we look, Joe, at the touchdown props for this game, it's no surprise again. Bijan minus 155, the favorite in the clubhouse. Bucky Irving plus 120. Igbuka plus 135. Mike Evans listed there plus 135. And Chris Godwin. Look at that. The boys are back in town. You're not going to get fired up for Tampa, Joe? Igbuka, Evans, Godwin? Come on now.
Yeah, well, don't forget, was it week 1, Donnie? We saw this game, and it took one of those, Baker Mayfield miracles there in the fourth quarter to come back and win this one. Listen, division rivalry, tough spot for both these teams. What are we going to get from all of these guys coming back here? Is there going to be any rust? It's a short week. This is a tough spot for both these teams. It really is.
Yeah, it is. This late in the season, like it's really amped up. Like, hey, they got to go on the road Thursday night in September.
Yeah.
They're fresh bodies at that point. You're at the end of the road here in December. And also, again, a team in Atlanta that's been officially eliminated from the playoffs. So if they're as smart as an organization and their guys are banged up, they're not putting them in harm's way on a short week. But then again, as I said, some guys, including the general manager, are going to be in that self-preservation mode at this point where they want to see everybody play because every win might be able to save their job at this point. That's the way I look at this game overall. But from a touchdown perspective, I do think it's great. Like, we're seeing the big names back for Tampa. Now, granted, they haven't played in a while, some of these guys, and how quickly they assimilate back in the offense, we won't know that. But the one thing we do know is if there are red zone packages for Mike Evans, who's on a pitch count, they're going to come in the red zone at that point. So I look at that plus 135 for Igbuka, plus 135 for Evans, and find those numbers fascinating at that point. Oh, of course, the touchdown vulture Tyler Algier at a plus 190 price, always interesting as well. But I do like, as I said, Joe, Thursday Night Football, decent weather. I like a Tampa perspective for my side in this game.
And one thing we know with Baker Mayfield against this Falcons team with the Bucs, he's played them 5 times, and the final margins, 3, 5, 6, 4, 3. These two teams play each other very tight here. So who do you give the edge to? Baker and company at home? Or does Atlanta do what they've done now last 2 times in Tampa? And that's won the game straight up.
Yep. For me, again, I'm just looking. If you're betting the Atlanta side, it's going to be Bijan Robinson for me. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You take a David Sills at wideout over 20.5, Joe. Good old David Sills. Back in his West Virginia days, man. We'll be right back. Hot topics.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is. Right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
You've got an 18-1-6 hockey team. You've got a 10-2 football team. So the best record in hockey, the best record in football, and top 5 in the NBA with Jokic and the gang, and the Nuggets at 14-6. And I'm saying to myself, what other town comes close to that?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Chris Beard said, I can just play different players. And kudos to Chris Beard. NIL does not matter. Recruiting rankings don't matter. Who your AAU coaches doesn't matter. At the end of the day as a coach, your loyalty is to your school. Your loyalty is to all the kids in the program.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Baseball hot stove heated up yesterday, particularly in Philadelphia. On a day that maybe Philadelphia fans needed some brightening of their day, Kyle Schwarber back to the Phillies on a 5-year deal worth $150 million. And by the way, it's a lot of money. Dude's going to be in his late 30s by the time this ends here. Who knows how successful those seasons will be? But in baseball, it's one of the few sports, Joe. You don't pay for what's going to happen in the future. You pay these players based on what they did in the past. But the Phillies needed this to happen. That key cog in that lineup that can just give you a 1-0 lead at the start of a game. Schwarber's back in Philadelphia on a 5-year deal after passing up offers from Cincinnati, from Pittsburgh, from the New York Mets, and the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, listen, I love the signing for Schwarber and Philadelphia. I mean, I think they had him listed as maybe the number 3 and number 4 top free agent on the board, right? I mean, 5 years. I can make the argument that maybe 5-year, $150 million, a little cheap. It's not an obnoxious deal. I don't know any Phillies fans going, why are we spending that kind of money? It's actually a reasonable deal for him to come back there. And he's been there for what now? Since 2022?
Yeah. Great signing.
I think it's reasonable. It makes sense. It's not forever. I think it's a great job by Philadelphia. Now, can they address some of the other issues they got to get going here with this team?
By the way, you know what I want to address? Bring that graphic back up here. I just noticed something I do think is obnoxious. So again, hey, MLB, it's their official account. They put it out. They credit Fine Sand here for the information. And then you see it actually doesn't show on the screen. It says MLB and then at Cohen Resnick, which is an ad, like at and the at sign. Like you'd at like these two guys reported this. So there's actually an ad on top of the ad here because Kyle Schwarber signed back with the Philadelphia Phillies, man. They don't miss anything on some of these ad revenue streams at this point right now. I'm like, oh, is that a person that actually? No, it's actually a law firm or whatever the heck they do. Diaz heads to L.A. This is a shocker. One of the better closers in baseball. If anything the Dodgers needed, it was probably a really good traditional closer. He said, look, man, they just piecemealed the bullpen together and were throwing absolute hammers like in their bullpen, which was their starting pitchers, and it worked out fantastic. Well, they go out and get probably the best reliever on the market at Edwin Diaz and steal him from the Mets. And as we started the show talking about this deal, it's like, okay, well, if you sold him from the Reds or the Pirates or the, Guardians at this point, like, all right, they just can't afford him. The Mets letting Diaz go is really interesting to me and goes to a loaded roster out there in L.A.
This is now the second year in a row during this time period, Donnie, that the Dodgers have gone on and signed the top reliever on the free agent board. They did it with Tanner Scott last year, and now they're doing it with Diaz this year. Both these guys were the top relievers available in free agency, and they went in and wrote them checks and got them in there. Now, Tanner Scott was an unmitigated disaster for the Dodgers last year. And listen, Diaz was good. He wasn't shut down like, what a lot of people thought he should be. So, but if you're the Dodgers for $69 million, you know what? Nobody else can have Diaz, right?
Just take a flyer on the guy. And by the way, I was hoping to see like a 3-year deal for $60 whatever million. We're not going to start paying that till 2039, the way the Dodgers get down to business. It is what it is. How about and here's another story about the New York Mets. This one I can't figure out. Because don't you remember, like, back in the day, like, the Mets weren't that great, but, David Wright, we got to keep him in town. David Wright. Like, it feels like Pete Alonso is like Mr. Met right now. But every year it's like, we don't want you, bro. And at the last minute, it's like, okay, we want you here. So now in their nice report by John Heyman, the Red Sox and the Orioles are meeting with Pete Alonso and his representation, and he doesn't think he's going back to the Mets. I just feel like he's going to be back with the Mets. And why do we play this charade all the time with the polar bear?
They have just kicked this can down the road, Donnie, for how long now with him? Like, everybody wants him back. He has said he wants back, and yet the Mets just I don't know why they're so against paying this guy or locking him up here, especially given the kind of money they have been throwing around. I don't get it. But in all likelihood, it's probably coming to an end here because somebody else is going to pick him up, and the Mets, Well, it feels like they're going to have, Soto and who else?
By the way, good move if the Red Sox or the Orioles pick him up. But it just shows you, like, hey, Pete Alonso, I'm the power hitter here. I don't play great defense, similar to Kyle Schwarber. And the Mets go, we'll give, it was like 4 years, $120 million or something. They actually offer Kyle Schwarber. So clearly they don't want Pete Alonso, and he's plan D for them at this point. But yet I find myself thinking, like, how do they actually let him go? And what is their plans if they do let him go at this point? So something certainly to figure out there. By the way, the White Sox, as we talked about earlier, Joe, number 1 overall pick. And also, C.J. Abrams could be on the move. I've watched this kid throughout his career, man. Pretty good player there as well, Joe. So the baseball hot stove starting to get a little bit more heat on a day-to-day basis. You know what else gets a lot of heat? Hour number 2 and the hottest sports topics that you need to know.